Have you ever been through the pain of trying to install language packs into your Windows image, whether using Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, or just using a Windows generic image that you're pushing out to your physical desktops? Today, I'm going to show you the easy way to install a language pack, and then I'm going to show you how to configure it on a per regional basis. So, why would you want to install language packs into a master image? Normally, people do this if they want to have one image and use that image across different regions throughout the world. So, rather than having to create a separate image per region, would say, right, okay, let's just have one image and install like France, German, Chinese, whatever into the language pack, and then configure it on a per region basis, which saves us from having multiple images. If you want to learn more, stick around because I'm going to show you how. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Neil McLoughlin, and this is the Virtual Manc channel. On this channel, you get the latest news around Windows, Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365, Azure, lots more stuff related to VDI and DAS. So let's get started. So let's have a look and see how we can install a language pack via automation. We're going to show you a PowerShell script that you can run on your image. You can use Azure DevOps. You can run it manually. In this instance, we're going to use Nerdio. Okay. And then we're going to show you how you run that PowerShell script. We'll run it on an image, and then we'll log on and we'll test that image, and then we'll show you how to configure it. So if you have like different regions, you can say have like separate views like France, Germany, whatever. And then we'll show you how to set the language, or the user can set the language themselves as well on the image. So you can see here the PowerShell script, which we're going to base all this on, something which I haven't written, but it's a RDS templates GitHub repo. And in here, there's a script which you can use, and that basically configures everything for you, right? It's using something called features on demand. You need an internet connection for this. It's going to ask you what language packs that you want to install, and it would pull those language packs down, and we can install those on our master image, or you can do it on the session host or the Windows 365 image every time you deploy a new VM if you want to. Some people do that because language packs sometimes can be a bit tricky. With sysprep, sometimes it breaks, especially the latest version of Windows 11.24 H2. But using this method, hopefully it won't do that. Basically, we're going to look at these. This is a script that we're going to run on the VM, and then it's actually going to go ahead and install the language packs, and I'll show you how we've done that as well on the script output. So this is the script. It's not doing anything mega fancy. These are the options you can have. You can add your own in there if you need to, or you can remove them, or whatever you want. And then it's basically just going to use PowerShell to install -language, and then it'll be the language pack which it's going to use to install the language packs, and then it's got some stuff in there to enable language pack component and installer. Not that much to it. It's actually quite simple. You can use Azure DevOps to run it. We're actually running it via Nerdio, right? So I'll show you how to do that. Again, super easy. I've already kicked one off, but I'll show you what I did there. All we have to do is go into Nerdio. We have it as a scripted action within Nerdio. So if I go into here, I've got language packs. And then all I do is I go to my desktop image, or you can do this on the session host if you want to. And I can just click here, go to run script, and then just type in like language pack. Okay. And then this is actually going to ask me what language packs I want to install. I can say maybe I want Arabic, Chinese, Greek. Click run now, and then that will actually go ahead and install that. So I've actually already done this. So I'll show you what happens. It took around 40 minutes because it does download all the components from the internet. Okay. And we can see the details of what it's doing. So it's basically just powered on the VM, and then it run all the language packs. If you download this, you'll actually be able to see the output. If I go into here, you can see here, it's actually gone ahead and then installed all the language packs onto that image. Okay, so that is all you have to do. Obviously, we then now need to publish the image, create some session host from it, and then we'll log on, and then we'll show you like the regional settings of how to do it via Group Policy and Configuration. Hopefully, we're going to have French and German language packs installed, and we'll be able to switch the OS language to French or German. I'll see you shortly for the result. Thanks. I've logged on to the session host that we've reimaged with the new image and with the language packs installed. Let's have a look and see what we've got here. This is me logged on as a user. I've just gone into time and language options and language and regions. You can see here the current Windows display language is set to English, United States. As you remember, the two language packs that we installed were set to German and French. Okay. So basically now what we're going to do, we're going to set this to German, and then let's just see what happens. In theory, the language should switch over to being German. Okay, that's done. Now we need to sign out and sign in again. hopefully it should be in the German language. So sign out. Now we're going to log back onto the session host. We're going to connect to Winget Test. There you have it. All the start menus are now in German. I speak German, so I've got no idea what these say now. You do still have some keyboard settings. You can change those as well. If you go to English UK, we can actually change that to Dutch. So if I put that to German, I can change that as well. You can also configure group policy settings. So how we can configure these as a default setting, because you don't want the users to have the ability to do this themselves ideally. It should be set out of the box as well. And because these are sometimes user settings, we can target these users as well as session host, but ideally you want to be targeting at the session host. Install the language pack. We've logged onto session host and we changed the language. We're now in German. The question is, how do we get it back again? I don't know. Let's now go and have a look in Active Directory, Group Policy, and also Intune, and see how we can configure those language packs as well. So it defaults to whatever language that you want to use. What I've actually done, I've just created a group policy called French language, and I've moved the computer object to a OU called French. Within this OU, we're going to create a group policy which should apply the French. Now, we've installed the language pack onto the operating system, right? So this should just work. I'm going to open up this group policy, go to policies, administrator templates, control panel, and then regional and language options. So we've got a couple of options here. You can block or clean up unused language paths, so we don't want that. So I'm actually going to select this one here. Restrict the UI language that Windows uses for all logged on users. Anyone who logs onto this VM is going to get this group policy. Okay, I'm going to select that. So restrict logon language for all logged on users, and then we're going to set this to French. Previously we've done German, and just to prove that both of these work, I'm actually going to set this one to French. Okay, and then you can also force the system selected UI system language to overwrite the user UI language, right? And so we're going to select that as well. Enable that one. And then restrict language pack and language feature installation. If you wanted to stop users from installing their own language packs, we could set that, but we're not going to do that. We'll just select that one here. Well, and we can set persons. So that means that when the user logs onto the session host, they should be using the French. Let's log on to the session host, or restart the session hosts, and then we'll test this. Now we're going to log back on to the session host. We're going to select language test. And there you go. Attendez. As you can see, that's kicked in pretty much straight away. And that's switched over to the French language. Now we'll log on to the VM. There you go. We can see we've gone from English to German and now to French. We can configure this via group policy and via Intune as well. You can see everything is now in the French language. So we've done it via group policy. Let's now see how we can do this via Intune. We're now at the Intune portal. First, we need to create a policy. Okay. I'm just going to create a new policy. Select a platform, so it's going to be Windows. Select a profile type. It's going to be settings catalog. So we click create. And I'm just going to call this whatever I want. So I'm going to call this French selection. Targeting French. France. Facebook. Okay. We'll go to select next, add settings. So here I can just search for the settings within the Intune catalogs. The first one that we want, and there's a few Office ones that you can select as well. We're just going to select the top one, which is regional and language options. The one that we want is this one here. So restrict the UA language Windows uses for all logged on users. Right, this is how we're going to select it for all the logged on user, and then we'll select this one as well. So device. Yeah, you can target devices as well. We're going to look at the device because we're working for a host level, but if you wanted to target users, you can do. Then you should be able to have different people logging onto the same host, but using different language. Okay, which is quite cool. We're just going to select the device. So we're going to enable, and we're going to select our language. So we want to select this to French. Going to select next and set our scope. So going to select assignments. It's the devices that we want to add. So you can select groups. So if you wanted to, if I had a group called French ABD host, for example, I could set that within there. But let's just select a random one for now. So I'm just going to select Cloud PC. Remember, I'll delete this, otherwise all my devices are going to turn into a French language. Okay, so we're going to select next. Next. Okay. Great. And that is all we have to do. And that Intune setting will then need to sync on the devices that we target. That would mean that anyone who logs onto those devices, whether that's a Windows desktop or virtual desktop session host or even a physical device, they'll have the French language. So, yeah, there you have it. That's how to install the language packs on your environments. This applies to pretty much anything, really. I've given examples of Azure Virtual Desktop, but you can apply the same principle or Citrix or any virtualization platform that you use. Thanks for watching. I hope you found the video useful, and we'll see you next week for more videos.